All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody,
I'm Daylon.
And I'm Shawinta.
and today we are discussing Ultimate X-Men Volume 1, Tomorrow People. It is written up by Mark Millar, penciled by Adam Kubert and Andy Kubert, inked by Art Thibert and Danny Meehy, colored by Richard Isanov and Brian Haberlin, lettered by Richard Starking and Comcraft's Wes Abbott, and published by Marvel Comics. So, this book is part of their 2000s Ultimate line, Ultimate Universe. Previously, we've read Ultimates, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ultimate Fantastic Four. This pretty much completes our reading of the first volumes of all of their mainline series. There's a couple of other mini-series, but...
Gotcha. That's cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So, Talon, you picked this title along with all of the other Ultimate titles.
I did indeed. Yeah. So this one was just like, oh, Ultimate Universe. I like Ultimate Spider-Man, so why not read more? You know? And so finally got around to reading this one. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. And what is this? Let's talk about what this book is about.
Yeah. So this book is, of course, about the X-Men. You know, but it's in the setting of the Ultimate Universe, and so in this, from what it seems like, it feels like we're in the middle of things happening, because it's not like the mutants are now being discovered. They already have been discovered. There's a program out to target them, the Sentinel. And so Magneto has already been well established within the universe, has his own island in the Savage Land. And so, we're right in the middle of this conflict, it seems like.
Right.
And
I was just going to say, for people that are, very much not familiar with the X-Men, one, they're mutants with, superpowers. Two, there's the Sentinels, giant flying robots that can kill them.
They look oddly like the Manhunters from Green Lantern, if you know what that is.
All right. Magneto, master of magnetism, main archenemy of the X-Men most times. And I think that's kind of pretty much it. For
we could also say the fact that their powers are, genetic. So the Sentinels are sensing the genetic something. So half the time the Sentinels come in, they kill a mutant, and sometimes a person didn't even know they were mutant, or just wasn't outwardly showing.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. And so we get to see, let me actually look at this. We first get introduced to Hank McCoy, and then, who's Beast is his X-Men name. And then Storm in prison.
Jail, not prison.
Jail. Yeah, that's fair. There's a difference.
Yeah.
It says, yeah. So both of them are kind of recruited by Jean Grey to the X-Men. And then Colossus, Cyclops, and Charles Xavier. So those are all the first issue, I suppose you could say, mutants who are part of the X-Men. And then they go to save a newly discovered mutant, at least to the X-Men. And that's Bobby Drake, a.k.a. Iceman. And so then we get to introduce to, I don't know if they're called the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. at this point. But
yeah, I mean, I think in the Ultimate Universe, they call themselves the Brotherhood of Mutants, I think. And then,
okay.
Yeah, and then the rest of the world just calls them a terrorist organization.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's with Magneto, Toad, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. And what I didn't know, Wolverine. That's new. And yeah, and then we also have this. So Magneto sends Wolverine to infiltrate the X-Men, kind of undercover. And so
as undercover as it gets with Wolverine, it just gets shot up by like the police, and then the X-Men are like, maybe we should save him.
Yeah,
He's one of us. And that's how he just waltzes in, like, as if he's not an assassin to kill them.
Yeah. All went according to plan. And yeah, so I don't know what this character is, but it seems like someone in connection to Wolverine's past is named Wraith. Don't know what that's about. But I assume Volume 2 is like subtitled Weapon X. So I assume that would be the word to get the answer.
Gotcha.
But yeah. And so yeah, as we said before, Wolverine is sent to kill Charles Xavier. Wait, is it Charles Xavier or Charles Xavier?
Xavier.
Okay.
Yeah.
He really loves to pronounce the X, so we have to too.
That's fair. I just like, as I was reading, I was like, wait a minute, this is an X. It's a Z. Like, you say it as a Z.
Really? Is that?
I don't know if it necessarily in the sense of like, reading his name, but typically when an X is in a name, it's like Z. Or
Xavier.
like Xerox.
You're right. I mean, I'm familiar with the X sound correlating to the Z sound. If I saw somebody whose name was spelled the same way as Professor Xavier's, I would assume that it was Xavier. But maybe I am incorrect, and that realization is strange to me.
I mean, it could be that the name Xavier is pronounced Xavier instead of Xavier. But
Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's on preference.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Continue.
And so they go to save Bobby Drake, and Sentinels get involved, and they overcome the Sentinels. Woohoo! And then Wolverine is kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, he's kind of playing the long game in this sense.
Right.
And so the long game ending with like, sleeping with Jean Grey. And he was like, and it's funny because Magneto's like, the only reason, like, trust Wolverine, okay? The only reason it's taking so long is because there's a woman involved.
Yeah, that was.
He just needs to sleep with someone. He's gotten a little distracted, but our master assassin would be back on track as soon as he feels like it.
Yep. And so.
And he was right.
Yeah.
About part of it.
Wolverine did accomplish his mission, the secondary objective, which he turned into primary objective. Like,
all right. No.
It's so funny. Okay, yeah. The freaking. I can't believe Cyclops leaves because Jean gets with Wolverine. I mean, it's not because of that. It's because they did that, like. They were trying to save the president's daughter, right?
Yeah,
the Brotherhood kidnapping her.
Yeah.
And Beast gets like nearly killed. He's like stuck under rubble at one point. They think he's dead. They're able to save him, but it's such a close call for all of them. And the only reason they really survive is because Magneto steps in, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Something like
He's
that.
like, you've been misled by Xavier, you fools.
Yeah.
I'll let you live because I don't hold hate in my heart. And that makes Cyclops question everything, I guess.
Which,
And it does not help that Wolverine goes, perfect time to hit on Jean. He's like, you're attracted to me even though you hate me. And then they kiss.
Yeah.
Outside Cyclops' window.
And
I mean,
and
it's a mansion with big windows.
Yeah.
they have a panel specifically where Wolverine's like side-eyeing Cyclops. While in the
Cyclops
act.
is like right behind him. He cannot see him, but he knows. He knows that like Cyclops is probably watching because they're hanging out, right?
Yeah. Which, like, their relationship is, like, very undefined. Like, Cyclops and Jean Grey. Oh, who goes by Marvel Girl? Let's not forget
Hey, I thought that was a joke. The first time it happened, where Jean's like, Marvel Girl, reporting for duty. And then Cyclops was like, knock that off, Jean. But that's just her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The reporting for duty part was the part that he was like, knock it off.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But you can see how I was like, oh, so it's a joke name.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like the relationship is that undefined because it literally gets explicitly said. I think Beast is the one who's like, I heard Cyclops sneaking around. Did he go in your room, Jean? And Jean's like, that guy cannot even ask me out to the movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you would define it as, like, not existent.
Well, it would be defined as like mutual interest, but no.
If he would just take the chance, I guess.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this, and no hate to Jean Grey, but maybe a little bit. I'm like, Cyclops, you could do better.
We will discuss this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Cyclops goes to the dark side and works with the Brotherhood.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. And so he's like a little like antsy, or, you know, that's not the word, but hesitant to work with them because they are a lot more lenient on killing people, as in they are more willing to do so. And so he's like, I don't like this. I'm only here because I think you guys are more able to, like, establish, like, protect us. Kind of.
Right.
And so, but then eventually, like, after, like, Wolverine reveals to Jean Grey, hey, I was sent here to kill Xavier. And he's like, but no, I've truly changed. You guys have...
In the middle of sleeping together.
Yeah.
Apparently. And she's like, what did you think I would react with? And she's like, ready to beat him up, I guess.
Yeah. Also, it should be noted that apparently because of Wolverine's skeletal, like, metal system, like, reading his thoughts is difficult.
Yeah, I wondered.
I think it's because of his skull, is it?
Yeah, my understanding was kind of just like vague training from the Weapon X program.
Okay,
they were saying he had so many times his memory had been wiped and then implanted new memories
That's fair.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
Okay, yeah, that was actually the reason that they gave. I just conflated him and Magneto.
With his helmet.
Yeah.
That makes
Make
sense.
a lot of sense though if that. I don't know. I guess I could see where they'd say, "Oh, a giant. Your brain is encased by adamantium."
Yeah. And yeah, so it's also here that, like, Pietro, who is Quicksilver, like, his relationship to his father is very estranged, and so what Magneto tells his followers is that he wants to have peace in the world. Like, he doesn't want to exterminate humans. He just wants, like, I guess, equal rights in the sense. I'm not exactly sure how he would say it. But then his ultimate plan is to destroy humans. And so when that happens, the Brotherhood is kind of like, whoa, we do not want to go this far. And so Magneto launches his attack, and it just in a very quick summary, it was thwarted, and it ended with the death of Magneto, supposedly. I say supposedly because I don't believe that he died. But
yeah, he's not dead.
Okay, well, so was it Wolverine decides to help out when Charles gets attacked again by Magneto. Magneto's just throwing him around.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what Charles' plan was there. Roll up and get beaten up. Wolverine steps in, gets attacked in a similar way to Charles did when he got his legs, ruined.
Right, yep.
It like that pipe thing.
Yeah.
And Magneto is like, you're not going to be able to heal from this, but I guess he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Quicksilver, is it Cyclops who's like, you need to stand up to your father? Quicksilver, if you're so upset with him, why don't you do something about it? So Quicksilver takes Magneto's helmet off.
And then
I love how simple it is.
I mean, hey.
Stole your hat.
Once Charles can get in there, he has no protection outside of that helmet.
Yeah. And also that hat does cover like his neck, it's pretty difficult to get off. You gotta go all the way up. Can't just like a little up and
well, see, this is what you do. You grab the helmet, right, and then you do a flip, and then the momentum going upward on your body as you're holding onto the helmet pulls right off, and then you land.
It's not like strapped to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah, you just gotta pull it right off. So like,
it might as well be a bucket helmet.
Yeah, he should get a chin strap actually.
Looking like Captain America.
I mean, just practical.
Yeah, fair. And so, yeah.
Magneto destroyed, peace restored, Wolverine breaks up with Jean, and Cyclops is pretty happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Wolverine goes off to figure out, I don't know what he goes, like.
I don't know, he had unfinished business.
Like you said, the next one is subtitled about him, so it's obviously his great adventure.
Which I find interesting just because that's like the X-Men movies were like, well, the first movie ended with Wolverine doing his own thing, and then the second movie.
That's because the movies made Wolverine the main character because he was their highest selling character of all time for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, he can kick everybody's butts and he gets a girl. What's better?
So, question. Actually, when did this come out?
Definitely, like, I'd say 2000, after 2001. This is obviously like, post 9/11.
Oh, so really?
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
Okay, interesting. So it would seem to me that the movies set the precedent for that. Because the first movie was 2000.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they got a lot of their, like, the leather costume, the Cerebro being in, like, the big, room, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Because, at that point, they were trying to make some synergy with the movies and such. But, the X-Men movie got the lead. And then it was the Spider-Man movie that came out. Ultimate Spider-Man, then Spider-Man movie. But X-Men came out before the X-Men comic.
Gotcha. And so, that's the general summary of that book. So into things that we liked. Right? That was first.
Yep, that's first.
Yep.
I would say I'll start off. Things that I liked, it was so, and I'm also just kind of a little bit, forced to compare to our other Ultimate readings in a way. Brian Michael Bendis on Ultimate Spider-Man, he's a little bit known for being very text heavy. And Mark Millar here really let the action speak for itself a lot of the time. It wasn't overly textual. So yeah, and they were drawing obviously on pre-existing characters, but the character design was good. And I guess to make that more an accomplishment of this book and not just general, the staying power of these characters in particular, there's been a lot of different concepts, different costumes and ways that they've been drawn. But I felt like this, other than Storm was pretty different, from her main universe counterpart, and I feel like they kind of went, I don't know, just different with her in a way that wasn't necessarily my favorite, but everybody else I was like, okay, yeah, you kind of got to this the distilled version of them, I guess.
Gotcha.
In a lot of ways.
And I thought it was entertaining. There was not a point where I was like, I'm bored with this book. So I did enjoy that. I don't know if I can really point to anything in particular that I was like, I really enjoyed this. Like, I think all the pieces fit together. Yeah. I wish I had more of a insight in that. I just for me reading a comic, I want to be entertained. And so this did a good job.
That is the bare minimum I would like to be when I'm reading a comic, at least entertained.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd say, we were talking about with the movies and other media that's done the story quite a bit. Or at least, the whole Brotherhood versus the X-Men kind of, it's been done a lot, and we've read it a lot and we watched it a lot. But this didn't feel super boring, and it didn't feel super typical either. I guess I haven't seen too many of the Sentinels in stories.
That's fair. Because they were only in the fourth movie.
Yeah, probably.
Days of Future Past.
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know which movie is which.
Okay.
That is the thing. They kind of seamlessly are always we're against so and so. Fight.
Right. But anyway, as you were saying.
Also, just the Sentinels in general seemed like were shown off as a pretty good opponent. Seems like a really close call at times. Until the end where it's everybody's doing great now and we can take on 300 or something Sentinels. I can't remember how many.
Yeah, that's true. At the end, it was kind of all right, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want in a story, right? Although maybe a little bit more trouble you're having. I don't know. Magneto's the big bad at that point.
Yeah.
We're able to take on the Sentinels. We're able to take on. So yeah, there's really good escalation, I think. The plot points, are easy to remember. Sometimes we read these stories and we're this happens and then maybe this happens. It's very clear in this story which one leads to which one. Cyclops leaves right after these two things happen. Beast is badly hurt. Cyclops blames himself. Jean gets with Wolverine. And, this is all after the president's daughter's been rescued. And then before that is saving Wolverine. Yeah. And also Wolverine doing that dream sequence where he's in the
danger room simulation. Yeah.
Danger room, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
where he kills
yeah.
everybody, because that's what he always does. Is He just kills everybody, including his teammates.
Yeah. Yeah, and to piggyback on what you were saying also, like, like basically everything is so like, each plot point is linked together after Cyclops leaves. That is the reason that the president even knows where the Savage Land is to attack Magneto with the Sentinels. He does
Or him
so.
being like, yes, Cyclops.
Right, that's what instigates Magneto's attack back at the president. So yeah. One thing I did forget to mention it too is like I like the plot point of like Wolverine being an assassin. Like I was like, I like that. That's different than how I've interpreted him.
I guess. I mean, before he was a Canadian, he was an assassin for the Canadian government, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
I think assassin belies a certain amount of like stealth.
yeah. It's
Whereas Wolverine's always been a hitman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, as a hitman working for the government,
I don't know who he worked for.
well, yeah. I mean,
He just had to kill people.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Basically, first he was like just his own person in wars and stuff. And then he gets captured, experimented on. And I think he works for the Canadian government. I mean, he's controlled.
Yeah. And I guess to me, like I think that's different. Because in the sense that like, to me, I look at it as like, had he not been controlled, he's not making his own choices at that point. But then as an assassin, like you are yourself. Like, no, that's just my personality.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
I get more of the sense that less of Wolverine choosing to be assassin and more of this is the only thing I'm good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you do bring up a good point. It took me a while to like really think about it, but the fact, because I mean, I think that given that the Weapon X program is it exists in the Ultimate Universe, it's talked about in this book. I think he still was controlled at one point, but he like basically because he goes from being controlled by the Weapon X program to escaping to joining Alpha Flight, basically. Which is still the Canadian government, and it's kind of like it's revealed later. Right. It's kind of revealed that they like basically tricked him into coming back. But then it's like once he joins the X-Men, basically what it is Charles Xavier like goes to the Alpha Flight headquarters in Canada and like basically uses his mind powers on everybody to take him. And gotcha. so this does give him a little bit more agency in joining the team. I mean, obviously even in the mainline comics, it is his choice still, but it's like a little bit less under mental pressure, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point, Talon. I feel like there's something else that I was gonna say I liked, but I did forget a little bit.
Okay.
Was it about the characters or was it about the storyline?
I think it was. I don't know. It did feel a little bit related to the pacing, like you were talking about earlier with the relatedness of events. But yeah, it'll come back to me later, hopefully. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, overall, decent story, I'm gonna say. Not.
I mean, considering it's very similar to all the rest.
Yeah.
It still felt relatively fresh, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if this is what I was going to say, but I'll say there were some ham-fisted parts that I'll get to later, but I think that it's interesting to make Magneto the, like the main like terrorist in the Brotherhood of Mutants is like a terrorist organization and stuff like that. Oh, actually, that did bring me back to what I was going to say. I remember now. It was that I really liked that we got to see the kind of a little bit more the internal machinations of the Brotherhood as a team.
Okay.
Usually we don't. I mean, maybe some writers have, but generally it just focuses on the X-Men and what they think about what's going on. But we get a little bit more of their perspective on the other side, too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I guess on a similar vein, like reading Ultimate Spider-Man, you only get like mutants are bad, like kind of the people who are on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this story, like you start to understand like how the humans, like the specific events that led to that kind of atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, so this is a nice supplemental reading, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get to see their reactions, the humans' reactions.
No, to see like the events that led up to, like, because to me the human reactions are like you see that in Ultimate Spider-Man, but this is like how it got to that point. Like, what?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think that X-Men came out before the Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. I think because, like, I mean, just the way that you were talking about it just now just kind of made it seem like that.
Yeah.
But I think, I think that...
I mean, the setting could be before, but I don't think the actual, like...
Yeah, no.
Publication.
I don't think so, no. Because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, mutants were still hated. Like, I mean, that's obviously the point of the beginning. They were still, they were sending out sentinels and, just public opinion of them in general. I guess I kind of wonder where Magneto first popped up. It's like you said at the beginning, kind of, that like we're kind of dropped in the middle of stuff. And I only half remember
I
what
think
happened before and where he appeared.
So, if I remember correctly, there was a bomb that went off that he was involved with.
Yeah. Was that Ultimate Fantastic Four?
I don't
know. Okay, I don't know. I'm just trying to remember when that happened, though, because they would obviously make a comic about it that happened before, but I don't know. So, yeah, I guess that's on the bright side of that, the universe feels very contingent, I guess, on each other's stories.
Hey, along with that, I was thinking about it as you were saying it, Talon. How the humans' reactions are always, or at first, are very negative in the story, because at this point we're already pretty bad relations between the human race and the mutants, and to the point where when they defeat some Sentinels who are about to kill humans instead of mutants. And, when the X-Men put a stop to it, the humans still aren't happy. They're like, boo, you suck. And they literally have like old lady yelling at them, maybe if you died. I don't know. I remember what she said. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And them throwing bottles at them. Which, like, that takes a lot of bravery, first of all. If I knew someone could freeze me just by looking at me, I don't know if I'd do that.
Yeah.
Pretty bold.
See, at that point, the passion just like moves you, compels you
The
to
passion
act.
of my hatred. But typically we always hear like, man, the humans hate us, and you see the very extreme reactions, like sending out killing machines, like the Sentinels, which you can always chalk up to like, the government's just being horrible. But no, it's not just the government. They're kind of supported by the public who thinks we suck too. It's not just, telling, but we get to see. Although we do not get to see that amazing applause they get for saving the president. Charles is just like, of course they would give us applause. We deserve it.
Well,
I guess nobody wanted to draw like 1 million people applauding.
Yeah. I mean, also it would be kind of a little bit of a lull in the story thinking about it. Like, I don't know. Because, like, right after that, it basically, like, kind of brings, like, it's the last couple of pages that sets up where everybody is, and where they're going to be going a little bit. And so it'd be, like, kind of a weird dip, I feel like, too, narratively, of, like, yay, we're so happy that we're being applauded and people like us. And then it's all like, but also Wolverine's leaving and phase 2. That was such a creepy Charles Xavier at the very end, the last panel. Like,
phase 2 is beginning.
Phase 2 is looking to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, like, okay.
He's doing the little evil villain thing of like putting his hands together into a little tent. My fate, my plans are coming to fruition.
Yeah, no, it was like the glass. It was like, yeah.
God. Yeah, he likes acting a little too much like a villain sometimes.
Yeah,
you can see where Magneto gets it from.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, this is the Charles Xavier that in the mainline comics, years later, we understand as the Maker, right?
No. That's Reed Richards.
Oh, never mind.
Reed
I was
Richards.
very wrong.
Yeah,
very wrong.
You got confused because
They have the same helmet thing.
It's not the same. It looks similar.
Okay.
Need to stop plagiarizing each other.
Yeah, they both end up wearing skin tight bodysuits. It's a little
okay,
much.
But who doesn't?
Okay, but it doesn't have a design. It's just plain like black. Anyway, yeah, where was I going with that? Charles Xavier, he's a weirdo, and it doesn't matter that he's not the Maker. Mainline Charles Xavier has done some awful things.
We actually get a hint of that in this comic, because he like, when Scott gets in an argument with him right before he leaves, he's like, "Oh, I'm just introducing a little like pheromones or
no, not pheromones,
happy hormones or something like that."
Yeah. Sorry. We'll just move on from that. That's fine. But yes, I mean, not from the whole thing. Yeah, he does basically like, create happy chemicals in his brain, trying to convince him to stay instead of leave.
Well, he's like, we're about to have an argument. You're going to say some very mean things to me. I'm just going to stop you right there, give you a nice little mood boost. And, I mean, Cyclops leaves anyway.
Yeah.
But also, is he not going to bring that up? Like, does he not remember that? A little weird. Just, like, at the very end be like, hey, Xavier, do you remember that time you, like, manipulated me with your mind? It's a little weird. It didn't work all the way.
I feel like there's going to be a story where, like, it'll come out that, hey, you've been using your mind control powers on us. Like, what the heck? That's not cool. And then, like, the end of the X-Men or something like that. Like, I don't know if... I feel like that would be what ends up happening is, like...
Yeah.
They start becoming suspicious of him.
Can we also talk about the fact that Xavier is dealing with a lot of teenagers who are very hormonal, and he kind of knows all of this constantly? He's like, not to interrupt your fantasies, you guys, but I have important mission stuff to say. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it is like a whole nother layer that, like, there's that. He is like literally, he has a library with no books because he is reading the minds of the writers he likes.
He's like, they write some pretty good books that they don't write down. And it's like, Xavier, what about the bad books they're writing too?
Yeah. Also, like, I have trouble believing that writers are just like constantly thinking about the stories that they're going to write. Like, what happens when you just like tune into their shopping list? Like,
well, it's like changing the channel on TV. You're like, okay, here's a channel that I frequent. Oh, nothing good on? I go to the next one.
You suck. Don't write that down.
So I think they were like, yeah, he just reads. Okay, how I interpret what he said was like, I just read books so fast that I've read them all already.
Yeah, so he has to like, I don't know. I'm gonna say, I feel like just learning other people's life stories would be a lot more interesting than any book.
Fair.
So maybe that's devil's advocate for Charles Xavier reading everybody's minds. Like, I don't care about Sherlock Holmes when I could like learn the like life story of every single American citizen.
I guess, yeah.
Not saying he should do it.
Yeah, no, of course, but
I would.
all right.
I don't know if that's a thing I like. I guess it is. Charles is more interesting than I typically see him portrayed as. I feel like sometimes they forget the fact that he was best friends with Eric, Magneto.
Yep.
So they're kind of similar.
Yeah. It's true. They are kind of similar. Yeah.
And also, I would say that like a lot of the other characters are kind of simple to understand for the most part. They're either winning at their fight or they aren't. But also they're like teenagers. Like they're all really young. So
I think Iceman's the only actual teenager, but yeah, no, that's not true.
Jean's like 19.
Jean's 19, yeah.
And I don't think like at least in comparison to Charles, they all seem very immature.
Definitely.
And it's not like, I don't feel like they're supposed to be adults and acting like adults.
Yeah.
I feel like they're consistent with whatever age they are, even if it's not explicitly said what age they are.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. Oh, that's what you're saying. You don't know if that's something you like?
No. The Charles part was the part I was
okay.
like, I don't know if I like. And I was like, I do like it. It's very funny.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's more interesting, at least. You can't just be a beacon of goodwill and peace on Earth as much as Charles wants to pretend he is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then, and so then the part about people being teenagers, like you saw that they acted kind of like their age. You would expect them to.
Yeah, typically, acting immature like that would, if it was the X-Men, I'd be like, this is dumb. They're just literally fighting over each other, like, and just constant like romances. Like everybody else seems to be splitting off into their own. Well, I'm gonna get with so and so. Well, I'm gonna get with so and so. And being upset over romances. And typically that would really annoy me if this was like typical X-Men. But in this case, I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah. Because
of their ages.
Yeah, it's really a big fusion of like the original 5 team where they were like, young adults, teenagers, and then the all new, all different X-Men where they were all adults.
Okay. Gotcha.
They're kind of like, it has 4 of the 5, original 5, because Angel isn't there.
Oh, gotcha.
And then it has basically some of the most popular characters of the all new, all different, Storm, Colossus, and Wolverine. Doesn't have Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is really popular too. Yeah.
And so the original 5 is that that was before this, I assume, right?
Before what?
Before this comic.
Yeah, I mean like the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
First X-Men.
But All New, All Different is after this, right?
No, the All New, All Different X-Men is the Chris Claremont
Okay.
team. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Because they did something like that.
Yeah, they reused the All New, All Different title for a 2013 Marvel relaunch kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But that's where the phrase kind of came from.
Gotcha.
They rebooted the X-Men, so they were like, we're rebooting everything now. But anyway, that's
okay.
Yeah, neither here nor there. Is there anything else that you guys liked?
Not
particularly.
I think we can move on to things we didn't like.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, there was. Okay, so one, pretty much a lot of the jokes I rolled my eyes at. You kind of like, you were like talking even in the summary about like the part where Magneto was talking about how, a woman must be involved with Wolverine and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, jeez. Like, that was one of the biggest eye roll moments.
What did you think about Magneto talking to Cyclops and being like, hey, this is a weird request, but
I
so
okay, I forgot to mention the part I liked that I did like. I didn't expect them to be like, yeah, this is his children. Like, I thought it was going to be a secret or something that gets revealed later in the story. But no, they're just his children, and they're kind of not having a great time with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, part I guess I didn't like, that was so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you call me Dad, Cyclops? Just do it. It'll be really funny.
You're psychologically manipulating your children.
Yeah.
This is
manipulating them. He's just being mean.
No, it's I'm training them.
Yeah. I mean, it is being mean with a purpose, which is
okay. I guess I can see how it's manipulation, right? Like it's trying to get them to even. Well, I think it's mostly the benefit of just like bothering them, but with the extra part being that they'll try to make you proud even more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see that. Okay.
That's the manipulation, right?
Yeah. So, in case we didn't paint a clear picture, this scene is basically Cyclops just joined the Brotherhood, and Magneto is talking with him because he's like, man, I'm not okay with all this violence that you guys are so okay with. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, it's for a good cause. Like,
yeah, and I'll never make
he's like,
you.
oh, Pietro just loves to do this. Pietro loves to kill people because he thinks he'll bring us all together. It's not working great, but you can't knock him for trying.
He's like, it often does the opposite.
Yes.
And so, right before they end their conversation, Magneto's like, hey, Cyclops, weird request, but whenever we are talking in front of Quicksilver or Pietro, call me Dad.
Which, like, also, like, yeah, I kind of, like, if they were going to just say that, I wanted the reaction because I'm like, I'm sorry, but, like, Magneto is asking Scott to be all, like, he just says something. It's like, yes, Daddy. Like, no.
It really is.
Like what? Like, what a power trip, too. Like,
yeah, we really don't get to see Cyclops be like, no.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Okay. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't, it seemed like they didn't if they were going to do that, they had to get like the full reaction, and they didn't even like show it. Like, maybe if Cyclops agrees, like, have a scene where he like tries it and something, but like no, it was just a weird like moment, and then we jump back into the action.
So that does bring in the larger problem, I feel, that a lot of the ending section doesn't feel as fleshed out. I mean, just that whole thing. Literally, it's within a few scenes of us finding out that Pietro is Magneto's son and is not having a great time about it because he's just constantly being manipulated and like pushed around like that by his dad. And then he turns on him. It's pretty quick. All it took was Cyclops being like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't put up with that."
Hey, I've been thinking about it too. I needed somebody else to say that to me.
I was just imagining.
What if Cyclops brought up the fact, he's like, "Your dad wanted me to call him Dad."
I just imagine if he was like, "Our dad sucks." Like, wait, what?
Yes.
Just all the other members of the Brotherhood being like, "I don't want to call you Dad anymore."
Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's a cult of personality.
I mean, I do think it's supposed to show the more weird, villainous side. I don't know, the dysfunctional side of that group.
Yeah.
Kind of quick.
Yeah, I was also gonna say.
Which same with Wolverine, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was also really quick. I thought
he's like, "I've changed my mind."
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly thought they were gonna be like, "Ha, he was lying."
Yeah, I thought there was gonna be a turn too, and that actually also goes into a major criticism that I have. While it was nice that it wasn't so text heavy, I really didn't get a good feeling all of the time for the characters and who they were. We didn't get their thoughts at all, I don't think. Their internal thoughts. It was just what they said and what they did. And, I guess when they, like, technically their thoughts when, mind communicating, but that doesn't really count. But, yeah. So yeah, I was just kind of like, I didn't really get a good feeling all of the time for why anybody did anything. Yeah. Moment to moment, especially if it was like kind of off panel. It was just like, oh, okay, that person's doing that thing now. Like, we kind of get a little bit like, like Bobby Drake, he's young and he's like, sometimes he's scared, but then he's like figuring out his powers more and like feeling more confident. And we kind of get to see that, but we don't get to really like hear from him how he feels about it.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, it's basically just, we only get dialogue, which isn't always the best at revealing a true character.
And to continue with what you're saying, like I had the same issue, and I noticed that with Beast and Storm, where they were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll join the X-Men," and it's like, I don't really know why, and especially for Storm when she's like, "I've already been approached by the Brotherhood, and I said no." What did Charles say or Jean Grey say to make you convinced? Yeah, sure, I'll join you guys. And
man, Jean with Colossus, right? Where she's like, "You're so scared right now because you just got like shot up by a bunch of arms dealers." It's like, I don't know. He seems pretty fine. I mean, after being shot, but I guess the Sentinel part.
Yeah, it was
literally all she is like, "You're sad and scared," and then she hugs him and he joins. That's all it took.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you had my sister locked up somewhere. I'm totally joking. That's not.
Yeah. I think there's an ultimate magic somewhere down the line, but not yet.
Yeah. And also too, like, with what seemed ham-fisted, I suppose, to me is like the relationship between Wolverine and Jean Grey. Like, I was like, I just don't know why.
Actually, that was kind of the worst part when he was all like, "But you like me," and she's like,
"But I don't. Can't resist me."
Yeah, and I don't know why. And
she's just biting her lip.
Oh my god,
so funny to me.
Take it out of my brain, please.
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't really like any of this. We don't need this in here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty pointless, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought it was the funniest part. So funny. Especially Wolverine being like, and Cyclops like, oh no, watching through the window.
Yeah, and I
joy.
But like I my kind of more overall complaint is that I think that this is kind of characteristic of perhaps maybe it's Mark Millar's role in the Ultimate Universe, but maybe it's just the Ultimate Universe in general. But like they, in their attempt to modernize their characters, they kind of like, I don't know what the word is, but like they made their characters kind of placate. I don't know if that's really the right word, but like to modern audience, to me, and it's like in the way that they speak and in the references that they make. It just seems like maybe it's just because I would never make those kind of references because like that's not how I grew up. But it's
what
like,
are you referring to?
Well, so like certain like references to like celebrities or
okay, yeah,
like Spina Fide or whatever that was.
Oh wait,
like that
Spina Bifida.
But yes.
That gets mentioned. That's an actual disease.
Right? Yeah.
I don't.
That's not a pop culture reference. That's
no, I'm not saying that. Sorry, let me
There's the
clarify.
Britney and Christina part.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Spina Bifida is a celebrity. I'm just saying that's a reference to something. Like
it's a reference to a problem, a disease.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, I was like, I don't understand why you would make that reference because it made no sense to me.
Some of them are very smart, right?
Say again.
Like, some of them are very smart, right? Like Beast and I guess Charles.
Yeah.
Are two, and then like Jean being very smart too. So maybe they're just nerds.
Yeah, yeah, and the part with Spina Bifida was that like basically they were saying that it was easy because Spina Bifida patients that their bones are weak.
Okay.
Like I mean it's not like osteoporosis, but it's like they can have parts of their skeletal structure missing, basically born without it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's
All right. I'm out to reread that part with that information.
They were saying it's easy because anyway.
Yeah, and then also like with the whole like love triangle, whatever you want to call that. Like I don't know, it felt to me too much like this is what we think kids are like talking now, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That is part of the Ultimate Universe. They were trying to, because I mean, Stanley at least attempted to, bring in 60s slang into the comics that he was creating. And so it was like, oh, well, we'll just bring in like 2000 slang. I'm not sure if either instance was successful because it was, 30 to 40-year-olds writing these comics each time.
Yeah. But then again, like maybe if I was a teenager or older during 2000s, maybe this would be a little less like of a dislike.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
I Not that mentioning Fortnite would make this any better. When I was a teenager, kind of thing.
Oh God.
Okay. That's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Gene, get off the TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
that's the kind of thing, right? Like the moment you start to add topical pop culture stuff, you're instantly age stamping this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which like also that brings in like I did feel like while it is interesting in some ways, it is so very obvious that like basically Magneto is Osama bin Laden. Like
Okay, how so?
I mean, he is the number one enemy of the United States for doing a terrorist, bombing, basically, and then, attacks Washington, D.C. afterwards. And basically the way that they talk about him on the news broadcasts and such,
Gotcha.
and the Brotherhood, by extension, Al Qaeda, basically.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So does that mean like where they're like, he's hiding in the Savage Land? We thought it was a rock formation, but it was actually a complex 3D hologram. Is that part of it?
I mean, no. I guess I would want you to expound a little bit on why you would think that, because
Is that a parallel to something that like the United States has said about Al Qaeda?
Oh.
Where it's like, we thought it was a rock formation.
But it was a hologram.
No, I don't think so. That's a little bit more fantastical. I mean,
Al Qaeda hiding behind holograms.
It would have been like, oh yeah, we tracked Magneto to this place, and then they like bomb Magneto, and then turns out it's a body double.
Yeah, I mean, the United States government did have a very difficult time tracking Osama bin Laden. It took until, the Obama
long
administration.
after this was done.
Yeah. Basically like 2012. And he was in a cave, basically. So I guess, but yeah, no.
The world's most luxurious cave. Magneto's in.
But yeah,
Magneto's like feeding like pterodactyls.
Yeah.
True,
the Savage Land does have dinosaurs that.
I'm surprised that. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Zabu, something in Zabu. I forgot.
Khazar.
Yeah, I'm surprised Khazar would allow them to be in the Savage Land.
I mean, there might not be an ultimate Khazar.
How dare they?
He is just a Tarzan ripoff.
Yeah, gotcha. You're right. That's not hip with the kids.
Yeah, having a jungle man and where your terrorist organization is supposed to be hiding.
If you get Magneto away from everything metal, can you defeat him very easily?
Yeah. I mean that's in one of the movies they keep him in a plastic prison underneath the Pentagon.
I forgot about that. Just like, the way you said that though makes me just think he's in Tupperware.
That's funny. Yeah, Tupperware. That's good. I will say I feel like it would still be incredibly hard for that because depending on how he's depicted, like I feel like there's been a precedent of him being able to control the iron in your blood.
I mean, yeah, that's how he escapes in the plastic prison.
But that was because Mystique the night before like gave him like an iron injection.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's like yeah. I don't know how much he's able to control in that regard.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But yeah, it's at least there's a precedent for it being possible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Saying it sounds kind of like Tarzan could beat him in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh yeah, totally. He's just an old guy.
I will say, like, for being an old guy, he seems very sprightly. Is that the word?
Okay. He is a strong old guy. You're right.
And so I would also say the same for Charles. Like, he seems a bit, like, not 70.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not as old as he's been portrayed before. Yeah. Also, yeah, I don't know. Charles is just still a weirdo. I mentioned that earlier, but just, yeah. I don't
Hasn't changed.
Has not changed. And I didn't like that. I did not like how weird he was.
Gotcha.
I think as much as I was like, yeah, they're immature, it makes sense. Man, some of that early, like you were saying, romantic triangles, I was like, this is the worst precedent. Or, I thought they were going to build up to even more drama with it. I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't talk to me about Cyclops. That's what Jean's saying or whatever. She's like, because I heard you have a thing for Storm. Ugh.
Wait a minute. I forgot that part.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go anywhere, basically, but it just...
Yeah, I was worried it was going to go somewhere, which points for it not going anywhere.
Jean Grey said that to Wolverine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nah.
Or not Wolverine.
Oh, Colossus, the Beast. Okay.
I
okay. Couldn't remember who.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that part.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. And he is just like, oh, nah, who would want to be with me? Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, exactly. What?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys want spoilers for Colossus?
Sure.
He's, in the Ultimate Universe, he's gay.
Oh, okay.
So that's, like, what that was pointing to, basically. Like, I mean, it wasn't supposed to, like, tell you. You were supposed to get the reveal later. But,
okay.
You know.
Gotcha.
So that is surprising that they planned that much ahead. To me.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it was a little bit surprising. I was like, oh, yeah. But, yeah, that's what that was, basically.
Gotcha.
Like somebody calls him like a tractor boy or something.
Yeah, because he's from a farm family in Ukraine, which they don't tell you, though. So, yeah, I'm with you there. That it's like, I only know that because I know Colossus in general. But, yeah, they really just kind of rely on other people, like, knowing the pre-existing characters, I feel like, which is, like, not the point of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's true. That's the...
So, yeah, that was kind of annoying also. It was like, I feel like I should know more information about these people. And, yeah.
And I think, like, to me, if you just read, like, the Ultimate Universe, like, there would be a lot that's like, what's going on? Like, so I find it weird that they just, like, there's already a history in the Ultimate Universe with X-Men, and that's when we start.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's a little bit
like a risk
jarring.
to start there.
Yeah, and then so when I finished it, I came away with this like feeling of like, where do you go from here? Because it does feel a lot like, well, Magneto's done. Like, you the X-Men are talking with the Brotherhood. Like, good relations are going theoretically. Things are looking up for them in terms of the public eye. Like, I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah, which I guess kind of makes sense why they would go into Weapon X, basically. Like, but then it's like, yeah, okay, figure out the Weapon X stuff. Where does it go from there? You know, like.
Speaking of, like, well, I guess that means that it doesn't have a good ending for getting people to read the next part. It's satisfying in the one-shot sense. which is never a good thing for comics. You always have to get them coming back. But speaking of like the Weapon X stuff, it's so. Speaking of like, this goes along with your cheesy part where you're like, Jean's like, don't kill him. You'll be the same as him. Like sometimes I can see that. I know there's a lot of people, especially online, who are like, no, you should not show mercy to like really bad people. It's just gonna bite you in the butt. I mean, I can see why Jean would do that, say that. Like, I think it's a very Charles thing. But also, Charles could destroy you in the mind in a second. So, of course, he can be like, don't worry about him.
Yeah.
But,
wait,
man, that dude, like, has so, apparently, you know, enough knowledge to, like, keep Wolverine in a cage and to, like, torture him constantly for fun. And be able to neutralize other mutants, which, like, I thought was going to be a much bigger problem.
Wait, which guy?
Oh, Wraith.
Oh, Wraith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this was right when he was captured, and then Xavier sends them to rescue him.
Yeah, and Wolverine goes to kill Wraith once he chases them down, and Jean's like, don't do it, you'll be as bad as them.
Which is kind of weird for her to say also, because I'm under the impression that they knew who Wolverine was, in terms of he's an assassin.
Yeah, I mean, he might be a little bit like, I mean, not as like mythic as like the Winter Soldier or anything, but like, you know, basically like under the radar, like, you know.
Yeah.
He's good at what he does, so nobody really knows him.
Gotcha.
Doesn't sound like Wolverine at all. Under the radar. Subtle.
That's because you read his stories, though. In universe, he is pretty subtle, actually, as far as his like killing and stuff.
His main thing is to cut people up with his like huge blade.
Yeah, but if you cut them up and no one notices until you're gone, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Also, he just doesn't seem like the patient type to like, I shall carefully hide the body. He's like, whatever, they're dead.
Well,
Bye.
they can't find him. He's good at tracking and covering up his own tracks. And he's fast.
I just don't believe the part about him covering up his tracks. That also just doesn't sound like him. What has he ever cared?
Because he's like, I mean, and I'm mostly referring to his like, you know, his main universe counterpart here, but like basically, he has like, you know, a really innate sense for like hunting and tracking basically like animals, and so he uses that skill set also for tracking people and hunting them.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, that's the way that he cares. He can be pretty introspective in the comics sometimes. You know, I think that it's just that a lot of comics really like to, you know, have the more bombastic side of him, you know.
Fair.
But especially in his solo series, when he's not on a team, it's a little bit more like, you know, there's nobody for him to talk to really except for himself. So you get to see a little bit more of that side of him.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I always figured he just was a caveman grunting, destroying, and then leaving.
Well, interesting you say that, because that is very, like, true to, like, his cameo in Ultimate Spider-Man. So, yeah, that was also something I just read recently.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I remember that story also being very creepy.
Yeah.
There's body swapping. It's not good.
The literal, oh my gosh, the ending of that story. Okay, so that's the story that I shared on Discord with Brian Michael Bendis being like, you know, some stories are like really great, you know? This is not one of those stories. Like, and then him like and insert showing Brian Michael Bendis like beating up on a writer or something, and then like throwing him to the side. You know?
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, so that was that story.
Great.
So, but the ending of that story is there's like Mary Jane being like going to hug Peter, and then this is after they went back to their original bodies, and Mary Jane's like, hey, you know that stuff that you were trying to do? You know, I think we should save that to when we're adults. I was like,
Yeah.
Worst.
Yeah. The worst. Also, that reminds me, jumping back to the book that we read today, just the fact of Wolverine trying to get with Jean, I'm like, I don't know exactly how old Ultimate Wolverine is, but
she's 19.
Yeah.
yeah.
Technically an adult, but
For the one time Charles would be like, he's such a meddler. Why doesn't he meddle this time?
right? Yeah.
I don't micromanage when I don't have to.
Yeah, like maybe he feels like he can't control either of them, like with his mental powers, because one has mental powers and the other has a block.
It just like benefits him a lot for Wolverine to be tied down.
That's a good point too.
That's
The
interesting.
feeling I got.
Yeah, I could definitely see Charles Xavier being just that master manipulator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jean just being like, why didn't you stop me? And he's like, you wouldn't have listened if I told you to. And, you know, it got him to come over to our side.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? You're totally right too, because it's like the one thing that causes Wolverine to leave is the fact that Jean breaks up with him, basically. And, you know, that was outside of Charles's control, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Darn, he should have given her happy pills. That's not what happened. Happy hormones.
Yeah.
Because I was trying not to say pheromones.
And in that context.
Happy hormones to make her
He's
not
doing
break
some
up with Wolverine.
serotonin to them, okay?
Yeah, serotonin.
Okay, there we go. Is that the word he used?
I mean, I don't think he specifically said serotonin, but that is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
One of the happy chemicals.
Yeah.
That man is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And I guess that was another thing that I thought that was also like that felt a little bit like the Magneto point where he was like, call me dad. It was like, is this gonna, I guess we mentioned that earlier, I forgot, but yeah, I just expected that to blow up a little bit more when Charles messed with Cyclops' mind. But yeah.
No repercussions so far.
Yeah.
Question: Do we remember if Quicksilver or Wanda or Scarlet Witch appeared in the Ultimates?
Not in volume 1. They come in volume 2, but I mean, we didn't read that. I just remember.
We didn't?
No, you read that right after. We didn't read it for the show, though.
Oh. I'm pretty sure we did.
No, we absolutely did not. I am 100% sure.
Okay.
I have no input because I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You read an edition that collected both volumes 1 and 2 when we read it for the show, I believe.
Yeah.
We did not.
Okay.
So what about them, Talon?
I wish I remembered like how they were portrayed in that because I feel like it's different.
Yeah, I mean, no, they hint that like basically like Wanda is like comforting Pietro, and I'm all like, oh, are they gonna kiss?
I mean, okay, I didn't get that.
Are you saying that that could be hinting at something?
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, so
okay.
like, I know Jake has talked about that before, where that is a hint. Like, I think it
That's
seemed
a plot point.
Yeah, I think it seemed more prevalent or more obvious in the Ultimates.
Yeah.
But in this, it was more like that scene in particular. I was just like, oh no, they're hugging. Like, I didn't get that. Like,
Well, I only.
I mean, I did. I'm gonna say like they were like leaning in. I was like, huh?
oh.
Aren't they siblings? And then it shows another shot where they're like more clearly, kind of clearly hugging, because Quicksilver's like looking at something else, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
yeah, weird though.
They definitely like this is a build up. You know, it's another one of those hints to me, and the only reason that I really knew was because I know. But
okay, gotcha. So does that mean that this is before? Do you think Ultimates Volume 2?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my. Well, I mean, actually, I haven't read Ultimates Volume 2, but I think it is before. Yeah, because Ultimates was not a ongoing series. It was more of an event comic that took place in between, the other series. Gotcha. Anyway, though, I was going to say, oh yeah, that's right. I thought that there was things at the beginning that I just remembered. One, the costumes that they use. And like they kind of like talk about it and they're like, well, it protects us from like the Sentinels, and then they like mention it multiple times. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's stupid. You're not explaining why it protects them from the Sentinels. It's literally just leather. Like why would that?
Is it Jean or is it Storm who's literally like, it feels kind of weird to dress up your practically teenage, superheroes in this black latex stuff.
Yeah. And like
someone outright says it and then like, nah, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Also the fact that the guys and the girls ones are different.
Mm-hmm. And it's like stylized. Like, I mean, Storm has like a belly shirt, right? Like,
that's funny if you were to say it like, yeah, this protects us from being identified as the Sentinels. Theoretically, if it's skin tight, it's like, okay, so no skin exposed, like that's how we do it. But no, it's not.
They have like,
there's
they have literal parts
shown.
of their legs like showing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, Jean isn't wearing the suit before she gets all of the like people.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, the guys versus the girls. Okay, to be fair, Beast gets weird bicep windows. There's still like thigh windows for Storm. It's so weird. And Jean, of course, because they're girls.
Yeah. Also,
where's Cyclops' thigh windows?
Thigh windows for all.
It's just so ugly.
Man, Wolverine's thigh windows would be all hair.
Colossus is literally covered up almost entirely except for his arms. Oh no, he does have thigh windows. Colossus gets thigh windows?
Well, it's because it looks cool. It's metal. He gets a little metal patch on.
Okay, I think they literally only have that for one scene. And then he goes back to being fully covered.
Interesting.
Huh. Man, that's so weird. It's inconsistent. It's weird. It goes away for the girls, too.
Oh, interesting.
It's literally only that, like, 4 panels.
It's like, oh, we realized our mistake, but we're too lazy to go back and undo this.
Sorry, it's already inked.
I mean, not to mention the fact that Iceman just wears a bandana.
Yeah. And an armband. Yeah.
Oh, you're
it's
right.
so out of place. If he just didn't wear anything, I guess it would be more
Yeah.
so weird.
I mean, that's, yeah, his traditional look, I guess, is basically, I mean, you know, he's not like naked the whole time, but basically that's what he looks like when he's in his ice form, usually.
Yeah. We gotta show off that ice body.
That ice body.
I mean, I'm glad they got rid of the thigh windows. But yeah, in the end, the girls still do have to, like, torso exposed all the time.
Yeah.
Typical.
Also, I was going to say, they try to, like, you know, rationalize the code names by, like, being all like, that's your, like, mutant name, you know, like, it's part of, like, a culture, you know, kind of thing. But Charles Xavier chooses their names for them. Like, they are like, I don't like my name. I think it's dumb. And then he's like, too bad. And I'm like, like, there's no agency in that. Like, the whole point is supposed to be you're supposed to choose your name, you know, and take off your, you know, your human name. And I'm like, you just gave them another name that they didn't choose.
A bully thing. And your name is Piggy. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, because that's like basically like Beast, you know? It's like, what? What? That's kind of mean.
well, it's supposed to, yeah. Man, it's so dumb. It makes me think that they're trying to do the whole thing like, oh, like Native Americans, where they choose their name or something, or get a new name kind of thing. But also, it's just kind of mean, the names.
Yeah.
Like the Beast one.
Uh-huh.
Just dehumanizing him.
Like, I mean, even if you think about it, Cyclops is kind of like, it looks like you have one eye.
Man, Charles is just mean. It's so funny.
Like, yeah, actually, well, no. I mean, also Toad on the Brotherhood side, his name's pretty bad too.
Right, Toad, Blob.
Yeah, oh, Blob, yeah. That's actually the more standout one, probably.
Is like, makes me think that's the one that makes me think if he became part of the X-Men, that like Charles would be like, Piggy.
Yeah.
Just like,
I don't know. I feel like Toad would be okay with his name.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm just like, still, it's not. It's the fact that you didn't get to choose it, though.
Yeah.
yeah. And you can't submit a formal change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's one decider, and it's Charles.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's all of the things that I didn't like. So
Same.
okay.
Then, what do we think about the art? Serviceable.
Yeah, and
It's interesting stylization.
yeah, I think that Andy Kubert's art, you know, it worked better for me than some of the other Ultimate comics I feel like we've read, which had other artists, you know. It's definitely like, yeah, it has that stylization of, you know, the 2000s, which isn't really my favorite all the time, but it's yeah. I didn't have any problems that were too big. This is a little bit of a nitpick, but still it like really threw me off. There is one panel where Charles is like at a computer, I think, and he's like, you know, it's kind of like an angle like from above looking down at him a little bit. But it looks like his body is not his. Like they had, like, I mean, his style was like different. He was wearing like a t-shirt and a flannel, and he had like kind of like bigger arms and like hair on the arms. And I'm like, did you have like Beast sitting in a chair here? But then you were all like, okay, I'm gonna draw Charles's head and make the chair a wheelchair and not erase any other details. It just looked like his head did not belong to his body. I wish I had like the page number or something to show you guys, but I didn't.
Which section
mark it down.
was it? Like,
I mean, it was.
after?
It was closer to the end. I think it was maybe during the president's daughter being kidnapped.
Okay, so it wasn't him talking to the United States after rescuing her.
It could have been then. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It was just one panel, but it was like, ugh. It's off-putting.
He's mostly just, man, that cat is ragged.
But yeah, for the most part, yeah, the art was fine.
Even when the art was like weird looking or cheesy, I don't know, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It felt in line with the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it worked well for the story. Yeah, it is a little
Oh,
bit. Oh, did you
where
find it?
he looks super evil after talking to the. Yeah, he's talking my X-Men, and I would be honored to accept his invitation to the White House. Like, page 114 or something. And then the next page, you see him holding the cat.
That might be it. Yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah, that man's got muscles. I think it's just the shadows that make him look kind of evil because he's about to have that argument with Cyclops.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love when he does his little mind powers and you get to see sparkles on his bald head.
Yeah, that was also like what? Yeah, I guess in some way. Oh no, you go ahead. Actually,
I was about to make the joke that's like magical girls.
yeah. Charles' magical girl transformation.
It's out there somewhere.
Certainly. I was gonna say though that like Andy Kubert is a pretty famous artist, so I guess part of me was expecting a little bit more maybe, but
They had some cool shots in there. I mean, like I really, at least layout wise, I really like that when Beast jumps up after being attacked by the pool cue guy
oh yeah,
at the beginning.
I forgot about that a little bit. That was kind of interesting. I feel like it didn't read as well for me. I was a little confused at first, but it was an interesting idea though.
Like that's the majority of where it's like could have been more effective, but at least it was interesting. You could tell it was trying to do something.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But yeah, I don't think that there's anything else, like, I mean, I can kind of remember when we read Ultimates, I was like, oh, that was like a little bit over inked in my opinion. This seems to not have that problem. So yeah. That's pretty much all I have for the art this time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. Okay.
No, nothing else.
I mean, I didn't really notice it for the most part when I was reading because I was more into the story.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think that's also just a decent sign, at least, that it wasn't distracting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very non-distracting art. Yeah. Okay, well.
Would you read more?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I actually liked it.
Yeah, same.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I'd be decently okay with reading more. I'm not sure if it's because it's like I know that really I want to read more mainline X-Men. But yeah, this was interesting enough, and it didn't have a lot of the pitfalls that some of the other Ultimate series had. Like, I'd say that these are probably top two, or this one is top along with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay.
Ultimates and Ultimate Fantastic Four kind of left some to be desired, I felt like.
Sure.
If it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's the parts I didn't like made me laugh, so I can I can see myself being totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think that that's probably if Mark Millar's humor continues and gets any worse than it is, I'm not sure if I can laugh that off.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It didn't make me laugh for intentionally right reasons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was not like, good joke. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're writing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny.
But maybe if I just like shifted my attitude, then maybe I'd have more enjoyment reading it.
Right. If you just told yourself that it was funny, then you could get through it.
It was funny because it's bad, not funny because it's good.
So yeah, maybe we shouldn't be taking advice from me who regularly consumes bad movies on purpose.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as you go in with the mindset, of what you're watching or what you're reading, then it's fine. But like having a certain expectation that isn't what it's going to be, then you're going to be in for a bad time, basically.
Yeah, I don't have a big expectations about some of these characters, at least not in this series, so I guess that helps.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I cared about Jean and then I watched her do that, I'd been like, you dummy. But no, I was like, you dummy. I want to see how this ends. Hope it blows up in your face.
Kind of does.
Yeah.
Eh.
Man, interesting too, just that little, I don't know, teaser thing that Mastermind was on the Brotherhood of Mutants, and also, I'm like, they'll have to do the Phoenix eventually, and he's a part of that.
Oh, okay. Wait, Mastermind. Is he the toy guy?
No.
He was just there for like 5 seconds when he was like, it's a shame we don't have anybody good to talk to, right, Scarlet Witch? And she was like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, he's pretty powerful for not having a lot to do in this. He can pretty much manipulate people's minds, control them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that's all we have for the show. So thank you everybody for listening. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Taylon.
I'm Shawenta.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel as it helps us out on the YouTube algorithms and getting us seen by more and more people. You can also reach out to us with any thoughts you have on the things we talk about on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and on Instagram and Facebook at The Comic Panel. Also, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let us continue the conversation.